in these laboratory petri dishes are dangerous levels of harmful bacteria. Sky News asked microbiologists to take samples of floodwater from people's homes and gardens on the Somerset levels. And this is what their analysis showed.
Evidence of fecal contamination, such as E. coli, as well as we've got evidence of Streptococcus and Legionella. These things, while they may be harmless when floating around in floodwater, if you were to get them into an open wound or into your mouth or on your food, could cause some quite severe gastrointestinal illnesses.
Residents in Moorland feared as much. Their septic tanks have been overflowing for weeks.
We've got no mains drainage in the village. We're all in the same boat. We've all got this coming, and some people even worse because it's in through their houses. It just means, you know, the longevity of this is even longer. It's, you know, 2 or 3 months for it to biodegrade and go into the ground naturally.
Tests found that the floodwater has 60 to 70,000 bacteria in it per 100 millilitres. The World Health Organization says bathing water should have no more than 500 bacteria in it per 100 millilitres. And agricultural water should have no more than 1,000 bacteria in it. The economic cost and the inconvenience of this floodwater is clear to see. But now these scientific tests prove what the residents here have feared for a long time, that this water is a health hazard, and it is a constant and an uphill struggle to keep this water away from people.
We wait until they get sleepy. Wait until they get so big they can barely move. Then we walk out of the shadows, quietly walk out of the dark, and strike.
As smoke billows into the sky, fireballs and rocks shoot from inside Ecuador's Tungurahua volcano. The spectacular mountain explosions attract dozens of tourists at a nearby lookout point. Massive eruptions sent ash 8 kilometers into the air.
We're seeing people in being indoctrinated to believe that creationists can't be scientists. There's experimental or observational science, as we call it. That's using the scientific method, observation, measurement, experiment, testing. All scientists, whether creationists or evolutionists, actually have the same observational or experimental science. There's a difference between what you actually observe directly and then your interpretation in regard to the past.
You're about to see the trailer for my brand new show. You don't want to miss it. Check it out.
Hi mate, are all your fish freshly caught today?
Yeah, they are very fresh, yes.
What's this one here?
Trout.
It's trout?
Yeah.
Am I allowed to check if it's fresh?
Go on.
Just to see it. This definitely smells like fish. It is really fresh. If you had to choose, I don't know, a cool magazine, comic book, out of any of these, what would you go for?
It would have to be Electrics.
Electrics?
Yeah. He's like a Mel Storm. Look at him.
Let's take a look at it. So Electrics. Could you imagine yourself as Electrics? Could you see yourself being this guy?
Yeah, look at all that power, man. Look at all of it. He's glowing. He can fly. He's
so you
sick.
can see yourself being like that?
Yeah.
Maybe I don't have to imagine though. I reckon that could actually be him.
No, you can't.
Yeah, let's check this out.
How did you do that?
Have a look.
That's so cool.
Let me show you this. I mean, it's one thing getting myself into the comic, but it's another thing taking his powers, right?
Yeah, but it's never gonna happen. No, never. It's impossible. What's going on?
I think I could take his powers.
What's wrong with you? Nah.
It's just coming out.
What? That is odd. What?
How are you doing that?
Did you see the lights, Joe? That is insane.
So now I think he can use his powers to his full extent.
What else can you do?
It's not really what you want to find when you walk outside into your driveway. A 30-foot deep hole and no sign of your car. The vehicle swallowed up can just be seen at the bottom, covered in earth and sediment. Firefighters were called out in High Wycombe and made the area safe. No one was inside the family car at the time, but there are now concerns that because it's so close to the house, that may also be at risk. Building control experts have been drafted in to investigate whether those fears will hold up or suffer similar consequences. Sinkholes are not so uncommon around the world. They occur when a layer of rock underneath the ground is dissolved by acidic water. Warning signs in urban areas can be from doors and windows failing to close properly, or cracks in the foundations of houses. The size of sinkholes can vary hugely, as can the location. In August last year, 2 buildings at Walt Disney World, Florida partially collapsed, while this pensioner in Guatemala woke up and found a 40-foot sinkhole under her bed. They strike without warning and can lead to deaths, but luckily not in this case.
The next time you visit Roper St. Francis, instead of sticking out your tongue and saying, "ah," you might hold out your hand as a wave of infrared light tells the Roper staff member who you are. It's called palm scanning technology. And Roper St. Francis says it not only gets through to your appointment on time, it protects your identity along the way.
And then right back down.
It may look like something out of science fiction.
Just basically a small scanner that allows us to take a picture of the vein pattern in your hand.
Actually scanning your palm right now.
That vein pattern is then converted into a 100-digit number and then connected directly to your medical record.
But palm scanning technology is making it easier for patients to register at Roper St. Francis Hospital.
Our palm scanners are the new patient identification system that we're using throughout all of Roper St. Francis healthcare system to make sure we accurately identify the patient each and every time they come in and present for a visit.
When it comes to financial transactions, signatures can of course be forged and PIN codes and passwords can be cracked. But I'm about to authorise a credit card payment using one of the most secure methods around. It's a system called Pulse Wallet. It has an infrared camera in there which scans the vein pattern in my hand. That pattern is as unique as a fingerprint and far more difficult to copy. The technology, developed by Fujitsu, is already in use in cash machines in Japan and Brazil, and it could soon find its way into shops in the not too distant future.
Oh my God. And you think, how would it ever get up there?
Hot and dry weather may have caused the death of some 400 fish in the Kallang River at Bishan Ang Mo Kio Park yesterday. The Public Utilities Board said in a statement today that the recent dry spell could have led to lower levels of dissolved oxygen in water. Only 2 types of fish, the tilapias and Mayan chitlit, were affected. The PUB said the fish did not die from a drop in water quality or contamination, and it is continuing with its investigations. The cleanup of the river started yesterday and was completed at 3 this afternoon. PUB has urged the public to continue with water activities in the river as it is safe for use.
An article in a 1965 edition of Eagle, a British comic book, predicts the arrival of the internet with stunning accuracy, including services similar to Skype, Netflix, Kindle and Google, years before the very first rudimentary ARPANET links were even established, and decades before the first incarnation of the World Wide Web became available to the general public. It's an article entitled Computers for Everyone. This is from 1965, and it predicted, quote, world knowledge at your fingertips as early as the 1990s. It's from 1965, this article, Computers for Everyone. 50 years ago, before they even established the first ARPANET connections, they're talking about the smart home, how everything's going to be run through the internet before the internet even existed. 3 decades before it even became commercially available. 4 decades before we even heard of things like Netflix or Skype. It also goes on to predict the installation of a complex nationwide network of connections between the computers and the fiber optic network, which could, quote, carry thousands of times more information than a cable at close to the speed of light. So in summary, this article from 1965, before the internet even existed in its most basic arcane form from the US military, predicted 7 fundamental aspects of the internet. World knowledge at your fingertips, the search engine Google. Summon any page of any book or newspaper instantly before your eyes. Of course, we would know that today, it's Kindle. The computer will control all power supplies to your house. That's a smart home, the Internet of Things. Video phone, that's Skype as we would know it today. Multi-channel TV signal, of course many people get their television through the internet nowadays, and we would know that as Netflix. Computers, the internet to replace tape recorder and record player, we would know that as Spotify and iTunes. And a network to operate at the speed of light, which of course the fiber optic network actually operates faster than speed of light. So all of these things were predicted in an obscure British children's comic book 50 years ago, 1965, just under 50 years ago, 4 years before the most rudimentary internet communication systems were even established between 2 locations, predicted all those things 3 decades before we even got the internet commercially in the 1990s, as it also predicted, and 4 decades before we'd even heard of things like Skype or Netflix. I just thought that was weird and that was interesting, caught my eye, so I thought I'd share it with you today.